Be confident, be bold, be authentic, but don't forget to take action. This is Ordinary to Badass, where our stories empower women to step into the spotlight of their own lives and pursue what they're truly passionate about. It's time to step into the arena and become more than just extraordinary. It's time to become a badass with your host, Marie Sonneman.
Welcome to Ordinary to Badass, episode number 17. In this episode, I will be talking to Amy Landino. Amy has a YouTube channel called AmyTV. Her first book was called Vlog Like a Boss, and she just released her new book, Good Morning, Good Life. She has so many good things to say. I'm super excited to introduce you to Amy Landino. Welcome to Ordinary to Badass. Whether you're ordinary or badass, I'm glad you're here. Today's guest is Amy Landino. Amy, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Marie, this is awesome. I'm pumped.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on the show. But before we go any further, I have got to ask you, do you consider yourself to be ordinary or badass?
Oh, I'm a badass. That's for sure.
I love that.
I mean, I remember being very ordinary, but I just do everything I can every day to not be ordinary. So I could never call myself that right now.
I love that. So when was the change for you from changing from feeling ordinary to badass?
Yeah, you know what? I actually write about this in my new book specifically. I remember very well. I felt like I was in a rut in 2008, 2009. And, I've never had one thing that was really like my thing. Like I'm very good at this.
Right.
And definitely running was definitely not one of them. But I suddenly just decided one day to run a half marathon. And there was something about that activity and finishing something and doing something that seemed so impossible that really switched gears for me. I was also starting to discover YouTube at the time and playing with my little camera and that kind of thing. But it was a culmination of events. It was like that and then running the half marathon and actually finishing it and proving to myself, like, if you want to do something, you could actually finish it if you want. These things started to add up and made me realize I was capable of a lot more than I was giving myself credit for. I think that's when I became a badass.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. I've run a few marathons and half marathons, and I don't consider myself a runner. But once I completed that, was like, oh, if I can do that, what else can I do?
Absolutely.
So let me go ahead and tell the audience a little bit about you, and then you can add any details that you see fit. Amy Landino is a best-selling author and award-winning host of AmyTV. With over 20 million views through her successful YouTube series, Amy is the world's #1 productive lifestyle coach. In her new book, Good Morning, Good Life, Amy shares details of how to start every day on your terms so you can go after the life you want. And no, you don't have to be a morning person to do it. Absolutely anyone can follow her 5 simple habits that will help you combat morning obstacles, set motivational goals, and create rituals that work for you. Get a copy at goodmorninggoodlife.com. That sounds so amazing, and I can't wait to dive into it. What else do you have to add?
That's a lot of it. I think that's kind of the focus on where my passion is right now, but something I've been fairly well known for the last probably 5 to 7 years is the presence that I've had on YouTube and leveraging video to promote messaging, both for businesses that have been clients of mine and for me, myself as a personal brand. So I've been coaching with businesses for a long time. And so now I've kind of gotten to a point where that's a part of the business that I co-owned with my husband. And that's something we kind of do behind the scenes together. But front facing, I'm really having this conversation with women about how they're using their time to go after the life that they want. So, I think that's me in a nutshell.
Great. So can we talk a little bit about how you got started? I know you started vlogging and I've kind of heard that story, but I think that would be helpful for our listeners. Can you share that?
Yeah, sure. So, kind of back in that time period that I was telling you about, the first video that I ever made was actually in 2007. And it was just sort of like a random occurrence of, I was asked to be in a wedding and I was asked last. I was like the last bridesmaid. I was actually somebody's replacement because someone got pregnant and they weren't going to fit into the dress. It was this whole funny thing. And I was like, well, how could I stand out? How could I be a bridesmaid that really does this woman a justice for her big day? And just came up with the idea to make a video. Long story short, it's very simple. You know, I found my digital camera had a video option on it. I made it with my free software that came on my desktop computer that took up way too much space in my kitchen. And it was just a thing that I did. And I played it at the rehearsal dinner on a DVD because at the time, nobody's really streaming video anywhere. There's definitely not a smart TV to do that on. And I didn't even know YouTube existed. So I played that video. And what was really powerful about it, just like I was saying, I didn't have this inherent ability to do something. I was never super talented at one thing. There was never something that really felt natural to me. But suddenly I realized I had created something. And the person I made it for loved it, but also the room of people did. And I thought it was very fascinating that you could make something for one person and still affect many people. And that's what turned me on to becoming a creative in the video space. I discovered YouTube after that because DVDs are not sustainable. And I started to kind of talk to an audience about my life. And then I realized I was learning a trade, which turned into video content marketing consulting. So that was really the start. It was just allowing myself to try something new and enjoy it and realize that if I took it really seriously, it could be my life. And it was.
So you kind of already mentioned that you didn't know everything along the way. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So how did you motivate yourself to keep going or not get stuck just because you didn't know things?
I think mostly because I don't know that I was setting such astronomical goals. It was initially, it was just like, here's a thing I like. This is cool. And I always say it's like, you can't unknow something. When something is so powerful that you can't unknow it. And for me, that thing was, I made something and people liked it. And I really enjoyed that feeling. And I love surprising people. And I love being able to figure out how to do that more and do it better. When you couldn't unknow that and you realized it brought you some kind of happiness and some kind of contentment, it's like you don't want to do anything else. So it wasn't about getting motivated to keep going. It was like the more I couldn't unknow, the more I wanted to know. So it was like, here's how you use a camera. Here's how you use a camera better. Here's how to make a good piece of content. Here's what other people are doing to make content. Here's all these things. And the more that I absorbed, the more excited I got about it. So motivation at the start was really easy for me. And I can see that might be difficult now. Ironically, I'm doing this at a time where video and vlogging and taking selfies is not socially acceptable. You know, it's just starting to become a little bit more done, but not very many mainstream people are doing it. They think it's kind of funny and weird. And it was not as accepted, but I was still really excited about it because I just felt like it was just this thing. It was just me. And it was just me and these people online that happened to know about it. And that was that. So motivation for me was just like, wow, I found something I'm excited about. Like, I want to spend my free time on this.
Yeah, it sounds like you were just kind of taking the next step, whatever kind of presented itself, but following what interested you or excited you along the way.
Yeah. I mean, especially today, it's really easy to forget what actually makes you happy because we're seeing so many things that are fantastic for other people that's making them happy, allegedly, according to their amazing Instagram. And that's fine.
Right.
But you don't actually know. And then you get confused about what you actually want. Like, do you even want a Maserati? Who cares? Somebody has a Maserati and all of a sudden you want one because it's just there. It's just because it is achievable. And that's cool because we go, wow, it's achievable. That's cool. Now I want it. But to actually be one with your thoughts and think like, what is something that would actually make me feel fulfilled? You'll find it might not be the thing that you saw on Instagram today. And it's okay to be happy for somebody else and what they want.
Right. So did you experience any judgment when you were first starting out from people that didn't quite understand it? And how did you get past that?
100%. I mean, like, to tell people I make videos on the internet, not that kind. Like, right? It was really weird. And I'll tell you what was weirder was I didn't talk as much about the YouTube side of things. I just kind of kept that to myself. It was my little creative outlet. What was even harder was trying to tell people, specifically family or anyone close to me, I'm going to leave my full-time job and I'm going to start a social media business at a time when social media, especially here in the Midwest, was not being allocated a marketing budget, much less being taken seriously. I had to look to the West Coast and maybe a little bit in New York to really find out what was going on in this world that was about to take over everywhere else. But it was very hard to tell people, not just I'm going to start a business, but I'm going to start a business with this online fad that everybody thinks is going to go away. But I really don't think it is,
Right.
That was hard. The judgment was very hard because even though I was probably at an easier time in my life when I made that decision, I was unmarried, I had no kids, I didn't own a house. It was like, okay, my commitments are workable here for me to take an adventure. And then I've worked in this other industry for 4 or 5 years. I could come back to it as a plan B, God forbid. But it never ended up working out that way. Here's the thing. Nobody really wants to cheer for you when you're trying to better yourself. Even today, like as we continue to learn more about getting better and being better, it's still really hard for people to
Totally
see you do better for yourself, specifically the people closest to you who start to see a different side of you and aren't used to it. But the moment your bandwagon has a motor on it and it's moving and it's crossed a few barriers and it's gotten further and further and further and crosses a finish line, just one, everybody wants on. And it's a totally different thing. And then they're criticizing you for the next thing. So it's honestly so easy to say. And I think I don't think I'm special, but I do think I have a special area of thick skin that allows me to get past this. I have some thin skin, but I have some thick skin too. And the thick skin is, I know what I want. I'm going to do what I want. It's why I don't work for anybody anymore because I can't handle being told what to do. So don't tell me what to do because I'm literally not going to listen to you. And the majority of the time, if I mess up, I'm so glad I learned from the mistake. But if I didn't, I love being able to go, I was right. And I leaned into the fact that I was right. It's my life. It's nobody else's life. Nobody else gets to live my life. Even a parent who feels super committed to you and involved and is worried to death about you, which some of us might still have no matter how old we get, they're still not going to get it. It's not their life to live.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if sometimes people say that stuff out of guilt for their own, for not achieving their own goals or doing what they want to do. And so it kind of comes out as judgment towards you.
Absolutely.
And also maybe they don't think that they could accomplish it. So why would they think that you could,
Right. And if we just started, and I have to practice this all the time, just stop and listen to somebody talk. And meanwhile, listen to them, but also kind of simultaneously be saying the mantra, this is about them. This is about them. You know what I mean? And when you start to hear how they're criticizing you, but you really know that the only way that they'd be saying these words is if it were somehow about them, you listen to them a lot different. And the same people who will say, I wanted more for my child. I wanted to do everything I could for my child, or I wanted more for my child. I'm not even talking about my parents at this point. I'm just talking in generalities.
In general,
It's just a statement that we hear a lot, right? I did everything I could because I wanted more for my child. That's true. But those same people might not get it when you're trying to improve. And it's because they lived at a different time. They lived through a different thing. And they think the right thing is something else. And that's okay because that is their life to decide.
Yep, totally. I would also say that for me, and we'll see if this is true for you, I had self-doubt in the beginning of things, but the more you do something and the more you practice it, then you get a little bit more confidence, or the more you experience other people doubting you, you become more confident in how to handle it. Have you had that
100%.
experience?
100%. It's honestly, I have to check myself sometimes too, because I practice so many things. It's like, somebody please come tell me how to do a video. Sometimes I'm like, please roll up on me and tell me what I'm doing wrong. Now I'm not perfect. I'm not a cinematographer. I get my lighting wrong all the time. But what I know is the cadence with my audience. I know what they want. And it's the reason that their audience or their comments is, you made that for me. Oh my God. It's like, you knew what I was going through right now. We have a relationship. So that comes with practice. The confidence I have being able to talk to a camera and say something, running the risk that I might eat my words later. That's what I think what we're most afraid of is not just being judged emotionally, physically, mentally, all of these things, but it's also like, oh God, do I want to go on record saying this? It's not a tweet. It's not a photo, it's a video, it's my words coming out of my mouth. I just think I'm so confident in the relationship I have with the person I'm actually talking to, which is not a parent, is not a friend. It's not any of these other people. It's a specific audience member that I've been talking to on YouTube for 10 years. There's a confidence there, and it only comes from practice, which allows me to kind of just say like, hey, I appreciate your feedback, whether it was solicited or not, but like, we got a good thing here. And yes, I'm always working to get better. And sometimes you get complacent and you learn from those moments. But the majority of the time, it gets so much easier from practice. And the confidence it's weird how much it grows. It's
Right.
weird, especially from me. You're talking about an introvert who never wanted to talk to anybody, leave the house. I love staying at home. People think I'm an extrovert now. I'm not. I've just learned how to allocate the energy. And that is all of it. It's practice.
Yes, and I can totally relate to that. I am huge introvert, and actually I saw you at Jeff Goins's Tribe Conference, and you're up there talking about your journey, and it really kind of inspired me because I had never done video or put pictures online or anything like that because it was so intimidating. But it's one of those things, you get there and you do it and you get over it.
Exactly. And it's hard, I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's not like I don't get like some crummy comments sometimes. Like it happens. But again, the mantra, this is about them. This is about them. Like this is about them, because you're just their fodder for the day. You're just you're their talking point for the day. And the reality is, if you are, you did a good job. The whole point of why we're doing this is to get people to talk about us. We can't control all of it.
Yep. And not everybody's going to like you, no matter what you do. So you might as well just be yourself. So let's talk a little bit about your books. Your first book that you wrote was Vlog Like a Boss, and now you have Good Morning, Good Life coming out. Can you talk about your journey with Vlog Like a Boss and what that was like writing it?
Oh, sure. I mean, you're talking about something I did not want to do whatsoever. I did not want to write a book. I just found it so fascinating that I was in a situation where I was literally being begged for a book. And part of that is having a great relationship with my community, but also because I'm a speaker. And so walking off stage as a speaker and not having something of a manual that people can kind of take from that experience and say, wow, I was inspired by that, and now I want to have this book. So I just found like it was a holdup that I hadn't reached out to this medium yet. And I thought, you guys, I make videos on the internet about making videos on the internet, and they're free for you to watch. Like,
Right.
Why would you want to buy a book? But it was amazing what happened when I did just sit down and take everything I've learned over 7 years and write it all down. It took me a few weeks to do, which is how I like to do things. I'm not like a super philosophical writer. I have ideas, I have tactics, I put them in a manual and I'm done. I did the same thing with the new one. As long as I set aside the time to focus on just that one thing, it gets done. And so that's what I did. I mean, I had a lot of guidance on writing that first one to help me get the confidence, because writing was not a practice for me. Again, it was something I was very unconfident about, but I got it done. And it wasn't even like people bought it. That was mind blowing. Like that alone is just like, oh my gosh. Like all of my colleagues told me like, don't worry, writing a book is like a great business card to have. If you don't sell any, it's fine. It's just good for your speaking career, blah, blah, blah. People bought the book. Like it was amazing. They asked for it and they bought it. And that was cool. But the best part was that they read it. We buy things all the time and we forget to do something with them and we forget to dive in and we don't know if we really care. But it wasn't just the selfies on Instagram of my book. It was the fact that people were sending me the tweets of things that they read or showing me the highlighted and notes that they made on the pages. And that's what made me realize I had made a smart move and that I should have listened to other people about that a while ago, and that I could do it again, because practical is my middle name. I just want you to take everything I know and do something with it if it serves you.
Yeah.
And so that's how Good Morning, Good Life even had a chance.
Yeah. And taking action is so important. Like when you learn something and you figure out a different way to do it, or you hear something that resonates with you, I think it's so important to take action while it still inspires you. Because if you wait too long, you'll lose the motivation to do it.
Absolutely. That excitement is what ends up making you not be able to unknow something. And then you could be making completely different moves after that because of it.
Right. Exactly. So in that first book, when you were writing it, was it a stressful process, just figuring out how to do it all and putting it out into the world?
Yeah, I think because I believe if you have a good structure for any piece of content, that it'll be great. I didn't really understand how to structure my book. Like I had all these different steps in the process. But it just took a little bit of mapping out and just starting to realize how I wanted to section it out so that it was bite-sized and easy for people to just like breeze through. And once I figured that out, the writing part was easier. Writing in general is still hard because I'm a very repetitive person. Like sometimes I'll say the same thing like 3 times and I didn't even hear myself say it the first 2. But with good assistance in like editing and things like that, it turned out to be pretty solid.
So what would you say to the woman out there that has thought about writing a book but feels like she's not a writer?
I am not a writer. I can tell you that right now. And there's a million different ways to write a book. As a matter of fact, again, in this process, I think I probably should have done it a different way. I think I will the next time. But something I did incorporate into the process was audio. If I am a speaker and a video creator and a podcaster, why make writing harder? How can I take the verbal form of delivery and use that to my advantage? We have so many different tools available to us now. You can use a human if you want, but if you just dictated to the voice memos app on your phone and it's the beginning of an idea for a chapter, and when you hear it, maybe you start rewriting it, typing it out, and then start building on it, it might make the writing process a lot easier. I tried to do that in this situation because I was worried that my voice would not come through as much as my voice came through in Vlog Like a Boss. And that's very important for me, continuity of voice and brand. So it's not like some ghostwriter wrote this book, which I also think is a great tactic for people who are not very good at writing. Right. If you can make sure that you reread it, you speak it out loud when you're rereading it and it sounds like the way you would talk. I think that's what's important. So no, I don't think anybody should be thinking, I could never write a book. I think everyone has a book in them. It's having the focus and the confidence in saying, what is that book? How could I start to just write down pieces and parts of this to make me feel more confident about it? It might not be something you get done this year, but if you started outlining it now, then where could you be in the writing process a year from now? And then where could you be in publishing it from then? Most people don't write books in 3 weeks like I do. I just do because I have a media company and I've got other stuff I got to get done. Right. If I didn't have all the stuff in my head already, it would never happen that way.
So what was the difference between your first book and your second book?
I think the nice difference was that trying to write about how to make video is very difficult. Like I can't teach you how to edit in pages in a book. So all of the technical stuff that I kind of had to address throughout Vlog Like a Boss, I didn't have to worry about as much. I could be practical in Good Morning, Good Life, but still be able to leverage a tiny bit of hyperbole, just enough to get you to see the vision. Also, the other difference is I think that there's a very specific way to make video fly on the internet. And so I probably was much more pointed in my advice about like, this is a good tactic. This is not a great tactic. Like it's going to ebb and flow between different people sometimes, but the reality is the algorithms like certain things. So here's how to do video. With creating the morning routine that's right for you, it is 100% dependent on who you are. You shouldn't be copying what other people are doing. So it was more like these are guidelines that I have found to help me discover what that best start to the day looks like based on my life, my commitments, my dependents, all the things that are going on in my life. And here's how you can figure out what they are for you.
So let's talk a little bit about Good Morning, Good Life. What are the obstacles people face with having a morning routine or waking up early?
Endless. I mean, it starts with opening your eyes and trying to convince yourself you want to get up, right? And I'm not a morning person. I go through that every morning. So that's one. But the other thing is, especially in the situation where, let's say you watch a YouTube video today called How to Wake Up at 5 a.m., even if you don't feel like it. So tomorrow you're like definitely going to wake up at 5 a.m. Okay, great. Well, what time did you go to bed? Because if you don't get enough sleep, you're crushing any hope of having good health. And that's not helping anybody. Waking up early isn't going to do anything for you. But also, why are you getting up that early? What are you doing that's going to serve you other than the fact that it gives you some breathing room and not rushing to work that day? What are you actually doing that's going to give you a purpose to make you want to do it every day, to make it a good habit? A habit isn't a habit until it's actually a habit. A habit is not just a word. It's not just a thing that we decide on. A habit is something that happens habitually. So it can only do that when you have found your why and deciding on that, to be able to make it happen. So I think those are just a couple of the obstacles. A really big one is usually other human beings or other living beings. And I talk about that in the book. You know, a lot of people blame their children, and I'm not saying that that is not okay. Let me put it this way, because this is always very delicate territory for me. I am not a parent. I can't offer that advice. But what I know is that you can blame outside sources, or you can say they're a part of it, because they are. Because if we're good humans, we have this amazing problem that good humans tend to find us. And you have been graced with all these good humans in your life, and some of them live with you, and some of them were born by you. And if that's true, then you're doing good on the good life thing. And it's about understanding how they're a part of the process. If it's a parent who's like, I got to wake up before my kids, great. If you don't want to wake up before your kids, then how do you balance that? What is the balance? How are you serving them, but also serving yourself? If you're waking up late with them and everything's about throwing outfits and teeth brushing and backpacks and running out the door, and you feel like it was a lesser version of yourself, you're not thriving off of it, then you decide if that's not the right move. But it's just too easy to blame outside sources. I talk in the book about, because I don't want people to think I had it so easy. First of all, I have a 16-year-old, going on 16-year-old dog. She's got every problem in the world. Right. So she's like my form of a problem child. But getting married was a big change. I've been a big independent girl for a long time. And my husband is so much better at being a partner than I am. And he teaches me a lot about that. I have to learn every single day about that from him. And not that I have to, I want to, because I've just not been taught that. Yeah. And something we had to work on was, I have a morning routine, and I am a better person when I have that time alone. And I love waking him up a couple hours later, because I'm so ready to be with somebody at that point. But initially, when you don't communicate that really well, it just sounds like you're rejecting somebody. You're getting out of bed without them. You're leaving them. If you don't communicate it, it comes off poorly. So I think that the ultimate thing is, what communication are you avoiding for fear of somebody seeing you want to change, or for fear of some sort of issue to arise just because you're trying to try something new? I think we're all avoiding that. So therefore, we just allow the hustle and bustle to take over our life because it's easier, because it's what everybody's used to. But if you actually wanted to teach your kids that you want better for them to start their day off too, you need to be an example.
Yes, absolutely. The kids are going to do what you do, not what you tell them to do, or not what you say. You know, they're going to follow your actual actions. So it sounds like
that's what I'm hoping for. I don't have any yet, but that's what I'm really hoping for. Again, I don't have the experience, so.
But it doesn't even matter. Just as humans, I'm not going to copy somebody that just tells me something and doesn't like walk the walk themselves. Like, I want to see it in action. I want to see them actually doing it, not just, you know, blowing smoke 100%. Up, you know.
100%. Don't ask me to do something you are not willing to do. I've been saying that so many times lately.
So it sounds like you haven't always been a morning routine or a morning person. What has been the difference for you when you switched from maybe not waking up early to waking up early?
I think it was finding that purpose. It was becoming the badass, right? It was like, first it was training for a half marathon, right? And then it was like, oh, wow, I found a hobby that I like, but I can't do it from the hours of 9 to 5. And it was like, okay, where do you reverse engineer your time to focus on the things that you love? And how are you prioritizing it? You can sit there and say, man, love making videos. Too bad I don't have time for it. Yes, you could do that. But why? Why don't you have time for it? If you have seen every episode of The Crown like me, but you don't have time to work on the thing that you love, you know, there's a balance. And so I can justify sitting for a whole weekend and watching season 3 because I can't wait for season 4. And I just got to knock it out now because I am producing the time that I need for the other things that I love otherwise. So we often say we don't have time, but it's not true. We go to happy hour. We waste a lot of time on the couch, things like that.
Social media,
screens, all kinds of stuff. So part of it is that, but the other part is, wow, I could potentially get 3 hours out of my morning. That's hard for me to unknow.
Right.
Now when I wake up at 7:30, 8 o'clock, I'm like, well, it's usually a weekend if that's the case. I totally sleep in on the weekends because why not? But literally, like when you're waking up that late on a weekday and you got ample sleep way in advance of that, it feels like you've already wasted so much of the day. And if I'm willing to waste time, why am I here?
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I've found I can fit so I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning usually, but when I get up at from 4 to 8, I can get so much done. But if I
So
wake up at
much.
8, I don't get much done the rest of the day. I don't even know why that is, but
I think, you know what? Because you probably can relate to me on this. I think it's because we're like, oh my gosh, we lost our 4 best hours of the day.
yes.
So now that's the opposite like mindset maybe is like, oh, well now the rest of the day is just literally for everyone else. So I've completely lost any ability to focus on me today. And
Right.
I think you start to get really critical of that after you've seen the magic that can happen in the dark when everyone's asleep.
Yep.
It's amazing.
When the world is silent. So I got to know, you mentioned The Crown. What is that show?
Oh my God. Okay. So The Crown on Netflix, based on the lives of the royal family in the UK. So I just find this to be super fascinating because this family is real. The actual events are real. If you think about it, Queen Elizabeth should not even be queen because technically her uncle was supposed to be king and it was supposed to be a totally different line of people. So anyway, all of that just fascinates me. And they do such a great job of telling this story and adding a bunch of drama that probably didn't really happen, but it's all based on all these facts. I don't know. I guess it's just the English like piece of my genealogy or whatever. I'm obsessed.
Is it on HBO or what channel?
It's on Netflix.
Oh, you said that. Yep. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Have to check it out. So,
oh, it's lovely.
So how do you get motivated to get up early and what's the benefit of it? We've kind of hit on some of the benefits, but
Yeah. So, I mean, like I think I touched on motivation a little bit there. Like it's something when you practice it so many times, it just becomes really natural to you. And also all that practice has just led me, sometimes you get a little bit too busy because you realize how many hours you got back in the day by doing stuff like that. I get really excited to get the really important things done in the day. I'm now motivated about continuing to wake up earlier, not just because I'm writing a book about it, and that would be weird if I slept in and talked about it. But I've recently expanded my team. And something I'm learning is that I now have to commute to an office. I have to spend time with them there. And not a lot of real work happens when you're a manager, like straight up. I spend time in meetings with them. I spend time briefing them on my ideas and briefing them on what they're working on. And so I know that my best work happens before I get to them because they deserve my attention. They have to learn from me. It's my company. And so having the infrastructure in place to train them properly, it requires a lot of brain space all by itself. And that's motivating me currently to wake up and do a lot of stuff because I know I'm not going to get to it. And I'm not going to sit here and tell myself I have all this time in the evening to do it because my body is tired in the evening, especially when I wake up at 4:30. I mean, it's not fair to force that on me. And so, yeah, I think that's where I'm at. But the motivation initially just came from the fact that I didn't have any other time outside of my 9 to 5. Some evening and obviously the weekends, but the mornings I could just do a little something just for me. I felt like I started the day on my terms, and then I went to go build somebody else's dream until I could finally leave.
For the person that's a total night person, what would you say to them, or what do you think would be the benefit of just giving it a shot, just trying it out?
I think ask yourself a lot of questions about why you're a night person. But I don't doubt for a second that there are owls versus larks. I don't think that you should fight who you are, but I think you should really make sure. Because if you're just a night person, because it's really easy for a screen to keep you awake, you're right. I also stay up very late if I stare at a screen for too long. Like that's just science. I'm sorry. Just read up on it.
That's exactly why I don't have live TV because I will get sucked in.
So we have so many screens. So just give that a try. Find out how fast you might actually be able to fall asleep if for some reason you distanced yourself from that. But this is the other thing. It's not about waking up at 4. It's not about waking up at 5. It's not about waking up at 6. I don't care what time you wake up. I want you to get ample sleep. If you're a night person and you really are at your best, you're super productive, you're pumped when you get out of work because you want to spend 6 hours on something in the evening and that's just how your life, get enough sleep. And when you wake up, how can you make sure that it's on your terms? What I'm concerned about is somebody that's a night person, but then has to wake up and looks at their phone immediately to see what the rest of the world's talking about, checks their email. Their boss is blowing them up with texts. That's not waking up on your own terms. That's waking up on everyone else's terms. Even if it's none of those things and you're just like hitting the alarm for the 7th time, you have to rush to the shower, run out the door, and try to get to work in 15 minutes when you know it takes 20. Like, that is not waking up on your terms. So my whole thing is, again, how is the morning routine right for you, not anyone else? It does not become a matter of time, the time that it is. It has to do with how do you reverse engineer starting on your terms? That's it. Whatever your life commitments are, how do you figure that out?
So can we talk a little bit about the 5 habits that help combat morning obstacles? And you address that in your book?
Definitely. So I walk through the entire book it's 5 chapters, very simple. And these are literally the habits that have allowed me to go after the life that I want and have helped a lot of people in my community, and specifically will help you with thriving in your mornings. So first is to decide. You have to have that why, and you have to decide what it is. And you have to be really honest with yourself about what it is. And I even talk in the book about something that's like probably taboo to talk about out loud, but it's like, this is my why. And you know what? You don't have to like it because it's mine.
Totally.
So figure out what yours is and own it. You don't have to put it in your freaking Instagram bio. It just has to get you out of bed. That's it. That's it. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be socially acceptable. Just decide what it is. Next is to defy. And that's really where those morning obstacles, those missteps come from. How are you going to anticipate the fact that there will never, ever, 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 ever be a perfect morning? And your missteps are going to happen every morning. Mine usually includes my dog. Maybe I hit the alarm an extra 15 minutes. Maybe I didn't plan out what I was supposed to do in my morning. So I'm just kind of aimlessly waking up early and doing nothing with purpose. How do you defy those obstacles? Next is the rise section. And to rise means to get up and to be healthy and to do it in the best way possible, because you're probably not going to feel great about it in the first 30 minutes. I certainly don't. So you have to get ample sleep. I talk a lot about sleep in that chapter. It's not necessarily me as a science person on sleep, because I'm not that person for you, but it is about how it plays a role in your entire day coming together, because you need to allow yourself time to fall asleep so that you get the right amount of sleep. And you also need to allow yourself to come out of sleep before you start your day. And a lot of people don't give themselves that grace period at the start of the day to really start it right. So I talk about that in the rise section, which is a really, really important habit. And probably the biggest question I get, oh my God, you wake up at 4:30? What time do you go to bed? That's the right question to ask, because I'm not sitting here saying I'm cranking out on 5 hours of sleep. I know I'm not going to live my best life on those terms. After that is shine. And in shine, it's sort of like a choose your own adventure. I wanted to just give you the 3 basic guidelines for what it means to have a good start to the day on your terms. Those guidelines are movement, mindfulness, and mastery. If you choose your adventure to fill each of those 3 buckets, that's a great start to your morning routine. Sometimes movement for me is not going to the gym. I actually detest going to the gym first thing in the morning. It does not make me want to get out of bed. I'm like a 9 a.m.er type of workout person. At 4:30, 5 o'clock, I want to do other stuff. So my movement's usually just like stretching and skincare. And then mindfulness is morning pages. I just journal for 3 pages. And then mastery is me diving into eating the frog of the day in my business and the thing that gets me excited. Mastery for a lot of people is the game changer, because they are side hustling. They wish they had a different type of life. They wish they had other things going on. When are you making time for it? It could be as simple as learning a foreign language. When do you have time to focus on it? Have that be your mastery. Spend 30 minutes in that app and no other app in the morning. Like, do that. And then finally is to thrive. And thrive is where I spend some more time with some productive lifestyle tips that bring the whole day together. You have your mornings that you've mastered, and you start to look at your evenings a lot differently, because you're sleeping for a certain amount of time. You're reverse engineering when you want to wake up and how much sleep you want to get. And to thrive means to do some other things throughout the day that continue to set you up for success. I talk about everything from calendar blocking and time batching to connecting with people. And even if you're an introvert, having a thriving network so that you can potentially call on people to help lift you up for the next stage of your life. And so that's what the Thrive habit is all about.
So does this process help you at all to not feel guilty You get up, you get your stuff done, so you don't feel guilty, one, for not getting it done, or two, for like not being able to, be with your husband or do different things that outside people want you to do?
I think it goes back to what we talked about. It's all about practice. And yeah, that's what the habits do. But also those things are really hard to avoid. We can still let the voices in our minds reroute us and go, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe I'm doing this. Should I be like going in and waking up my child and playing with them and trying to start their day too? Or, and there's so many things that can pull us in different directions. It's the practice. Do the practice it over and over again. Allow it to actually become a habit so you can see if there's benefits that come from it. You need something on your side to argue that this is a good idea for you. I can sit here and tell you all day long to wake up early, but until you see it for you, there's going to be guilt because you haven't actually been able to determine what those benefits are. You've got to figure it out for yourself.
Okay. So just to recap, the 5 habits are to know your why you're doing it, to defy the obstacles is number 2, and then to rise, to kind of get up and give yourself some grace period, and then shine, which involves movement, mindfulness, and mastery, and then to just thrive. Can you tell us where we can get the book and when it comes out?
Absolutely. The book is out December 10th, and you can find it at goodmorninggoodlife.com and all the Amazon-ness that you enjoy.
Love Amazon. Okay. So let's end with a tip to encourage women who are in the arena fighting for the life that they want, and share how the audience can connect with you.
I think it's really important to know who you're talking to and focus on them. Sometimes we're talking to ourselves, and we should allow ourselves to have that moment with ourselves. When I'm on YouTube, I'm talking to a very specific person, and I know her by name, and I know her really well, and I know her relationship, and I pay attention to her. When I'm talking to my husband, I'm talking just to my husband. I'm focused on him. I need to stop looking at all the other things. We've got to work on this. We're all not perfect at this. When we're talking to our kids, you talk to your kids, spend the time with your kid. The more you focus on giving everybody else better quality time, the more you'll realize you can give yourself better quality time too.
I love that. And how can we connect with you?
I'm Schmatastic on all of my social media, and you can learn more details if you can't spell that or whatever. It's at amylandino.com.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. You've been a total badass, and I've enjoyed having you on the show. With that, we'll end our show. And to all that badass women out there staying in the arena, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, own it and get after it. Thank you for listening to this episode of the show. As a newer podcaster, I would be so grateful if you went over to iTunes and left a review. That way, people just like you can learn about the show and become a listener. Also, I would love for you to screenshot your review and send it to me over on Instagram at Ordinary to Badass. So that way I can make sure to thank you. I'm so appreciative of you. Talk to you soon, friend.
Now that you've listened to this episode of Ordinary to Badass, we want to hear from you. Go to our website, ordinarytobadass.com/podcast, and submit your own experience on how you took your life from ordinary to badass, and get the chance to be on a future Spotlight episode of the show. That's ordinarytobadass.com/podcast. While you're waiting for the next episode of the show, wipe off the sweat, dust off the dirt, and get back in the arena.